Hello, all, and welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Borovets. And today I have got two great guests. First of all, my name is Leo. The person that you're missing is Mo. He is playing the trumpet in Chicago, so he is not here tonight. But I've got two great guests. The first one I'd like to introduce is Carol and Jim. Carol, do you want to do a quick say hello?
Hi, sorry. And this is Snowy. I'm sure many of you have met him on the mountain.
So, Carol and Jim both are actually residents out in Bulgaria and are joining us today just to give a flavour of what it's like to do that side of living out there. Carol, where are you originally from in the UK?
Well, originally I'm from Surbiton, but I've lived in Horsham for the last 30 years. So, yeah, right. Sussex, really.
Okay. And how did you get into snow sports?
I just always wanted to ski from a very young age, but I couldn't afford it till I was, about 30.
Right.
And then I was looking to run school trips for 20 odd years. So, yeah.
So you ended up taking out other people's children, as my wife would call it, to go skiing and snowboarding, right?
Yeah.
And then you just got the bug, and that's it.
Yeah. And I came out 3 seasons ago. Just came out to do a season, and basically never went home. So
had you lived anywhere else out?
No.
So why Bulgaria? Why Borovets?
Why Borovets? I first came here in the early 90s. I brought my late husband out here for him to learn to ski. It's such a good place to learn. And we came February half term, and it was just as crowded as it is. But no, it was brilliant. And I came back, and it's got so much going for it, and it's not too expensive, so I could afford to do the whole season without actually having to work. So yeah. And then the dog had a snowboarding injury, poor Snowy, and we had to stay for the vets and everything. And then it was just so beautiful in the summer. I hadn't appreciated how beautiful Borovets is in the summer, and that was it. So I'm still here.
I've heard that from a number of people who say that while they came for the winter, they stayed for the summer. Is that a good way of saying it?
Yeah, I mean it does get a bit hot in the summer, but there's always the lake nearby. Yes, it's got a lovely sandy beach, and it's lovely warm water for swimming and sailing. Brilliant.
And you're loving it. So you moved out. You said so. It was like 3 years ago that you moved out.
Yeah.
Or you came out for one and you never went back.
Yeah. And then I bought a little house in Shipochin, just outside Samakov. It's wonderful.
I think I've seen the pictures from your room. You can see the night skiing, can't you? I can see
the night skiing. I see Yastovets, and the top of Sinyakova. It's beautiful.
Oh, it must be. It's like, there's those of us who are sitting there with the webcams, which we'll look at later, but you've got it outside your window.
It's literally outside the window. Although sometimes in the mornings you just lie in bed and actually look at the webcams before opening the curtains.
So you do what we do. Even though you're there, you do what we do, which is look at the webcams before you go out.
And look at the weather forecast umpteen times a day. Yeah.
So what's your average day in Bulgaria look like in the winter?
Really an average day. It's in the ski season. I try to get up as much as possible. Although this year I decided to learn to snowboard as well, and I've had 2 injuries so far, so I haven't actually done as much as I wanted to. But I'm getting there.
Who's your snowboard instructor?
My snowboard instructor, Dave Goodall. Oh, he's brilliant.
I thought it was.
It wasn't his fault that I got
injured. So we can't blame Dave.
No, we can't blame Dave.
I think I cut him out slightly on the picture. There was a picture of you, and I just pushed him out. I'm sure he won't mind.
Yes.
So you learned to snowboard this year, and obviously now you're over to the dark side. What's your view?
Well, I'll never be as good a snowboarder as I am a skier, and even that's debatable. So it's I think it's, don't knock it unless you've tried it.
I
But
think
skiing is the important bit to me.
skiing's the important. Is that still your true love? If you, yeah, I know that one day I'm going to have to go back to skiing, but I'm just putting that day off.
Well, I mean, a lot of people here do both. I mean, why not do both?
Yes, we had Sarah on last week, and Keith, as you know, does both.
Keith does, and you had Pete on last week. He does both.
Yeah, correct. So it's people swap. So how's your Bulgarian after 3 years?
Pretty non-existent. I am actually taking proper lessons now, but I haven't actually got to the speaking stage yet.
Right. Yeah. So sorry, it sounds like I've got a bit of a feedback on my microphone. It's my fault here. If you could, what's your favourite saying in Bulgarian with your saying?
Well, I think my favourite saying for holidaymakers to say is, "Carol, can I buy you a beer?" Oh, sorry, you meant in Bulgarian. No, my favourite word in Bulgarian is probably spokojno. Spokojno means chill, cool, relax, what have you. It's a bit like the Spanish mañana, but without that degree of urgency. So
there is no degree of urgency in mañana. There is absolutely no degree of urgency. My parents lived in Spain for 20 years. I never heard any urgency put behind the word mañana.
Spokojno is even more chilled. Yeah,
it's the same as the South African now, which is the equivalent of sometime never.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there you go. What do you miss from not being in the UK?
I miss the thing that probably not having an address. I find a bit of a problem. Yeah, some people. I think Jim does actually have an address.
Like it's care of the post office, but yeah.
Yeah, but whereas I'm just, it's Carol in Shipochne. So things like Amazon deliveries and any sort of internet, eBay, that sort of stuff is much more tricky. But basically, there's the odd food stuff. Beef, cheese, yeah.
So if someone was coming out from the UK, what would you like them to put in the suitcase?
What do they? Smoked haddock, roast beef, and strong cheddar.
Right. Okay. I'm funny feeling that smoked haddock, roast beef, and strong cheddar would have the dogs set off from that.
Yes.
And I know you can never say never.
Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. I know you can never say never.
We can just. I'm doing it again.
You go.
The dry stuff. Well, I've just put in a Sainsbury's order for a load of people locally. So any dry stuff. It takes 2 weeks to get here, but it's not too expensive.
No, I can imagine. So, you can never say never. Do you think you'll ever go back to the UK?
I don't think so. I don't have any family there other than my brother, and he's coming out here this weekend. So, yeah.
If you had you must being out there 3 years. There must be. Have you got a story of what being out there is different? One of those fun stories.
Can be aired publicly.
Yeah, I should have added that.
No, it's just so different from my life, perhaps in England. Being retired does help, not having to work, and not having any children.
And you don't have to take other people's children anymore.
And it's a nicely laid back way of life, and there's no urgency about anything, really. Yeah.
Jim.
Yes, hi.
I think Carol is in Samakov. You are. Where are you?
Maliksak first. So it's if you follow the road along from Yastrebets, you'll come to Maliksak for eventually. Right,
and that is obviously not a Bulgarian accent, and it's definitely not an English accent.
No. Grew up in Adelaide. Well, born in Adelaide, South Australia. Pretty much spent most of my life living in Australia, in various locations.
So, living in Australia,
why am I in Bulgaria?
That isn't sort of like the natural home away sort of plan, is it?
No, and I don't think any child growing up in Australia ever thinks they're going to end up in Bulgaria. That's for sure. But I married an English girl, which was the I suppose the catalyst. Spent 7-8 years in England without summer, and I just couldn't do, no summer. So, funnily enough, we ended up in a ski resort chasing summer.
So you end up in a ski resort chasing summer.
Yeah.
Before you got to Bulgaria,
yeah,
how much skiing had you done?
1 week.
1 week.
Yes.
1 week. So let me just put this into perspective. So 1 week of snow, and you've gone, right, that'll do. I'll have that for 6 months of the year. Pretty
much. It was very much. It was more chasing somewhere that we could actually have a decent summer, that was relatively cheap living, and was easy. So we needed to be within an hour of an airport, so that we could sort of access, or my wife could access the UK easily.
How do you get to Sofia Airport in an hour?
Is there a road?
Is there a road that you do that the rest of us don't know about?
Yep.
Well, to be fair, we actually cut across a slightly different road because we're sort of coming from a bit of an angle. But no, probably the airport's about an hour and 15. I would think, but certainly Sofia's an hour.
So you said, so your wife, does she go back often, or
when she has to? She goes back occasionally with client meetings and a few bits and pieces like that, and when they sort of insist that she needs to be at the office. But to be honest, she probably works harder sitting in her little office here than she probably ever would in the UK, because she doesn't have a commute that would have been 40, 50 minutes at both ends of the day. So she probably works considerably longer just sitting here than she ever would actually if she was in the UK, I think.
Can I ask, it sounds like she still works. Are you still working? What do you both do?
No, I don't. I mostly look after the kids. Certainly this time of year, I mostly look after the kids, and through summer. Bearing in mind there's 3.5 months of summer holidays here. So it's a lot, all of summer plus a little bit more.
Carol, you were a school teacher in the wrong country.
Yeah.
3.5 months.
Yeah. So
I think I don't know that really takes even more than when I normally talk to school teachers who don't seem to work any hours. That's a long time.
I think, and bearing in mind that the proper school teacher finishes at 12:30, so sure. They go into the homework teacher after that. So they finish work at 12:30, and they don't work all of summer. So it's not a bad life for a teacher here, to be fair.
And your wife, what industry is she in?
She's well, she does mergers and acquisitions on the tax side of things. She kind of consults on the tax implications of acquisitions, etc.
And obviously a job which you can definitely do remotely rather than
being
there.
Yeah. She very rarely needs to actually be there. Sort of, the project might be £1 billion, and that doesn't happen in a week. That's would last sort of 4 or 5 months, and sort of. So it's not a.
Do you see yourself? So you've been out there for how long was it?
This is our fourth season. Yeah.
How long do you see yourself out there?
Oh, the plan was always to end up back in Australia. But the lifestyle here, I'm sitting in a restaurant that's more expensive than the one I would normally sort of go to on a regular basis, and a beer is 2 lev. So,
what? So that's under £1 for a beer.
Yes.
Yeah.
the one we call the Happy Duck, which has got a long story. It's not actually called the Happy Duck in Govardazzi, the one that we normally eat and drink at. You get a pizza for 2 lev, and a beer for 1 lev 30, I think it is.
You're selling this well,
you know,
Jim.
60p for a beer, and a local rum, which will set you back maybe 30p per drink in the local drink.
I'm here in Cardiff today, and last night I was out in Cardiff. It's I think it was £4.50 a pint, £5, somewhere in that. That's how much it is for in Cardiff. So it's
So when my wife's back in the UK, she normally spends as much on her meal as I take the whole family out to the restaurant and sort of spend equivalent to her meal alone. So it has its advantages.
So you're not in Borovets, you're just outside. How often do you end up going to Borovets to ski, snowboard?
Yeah, so we go. It depends on what the wife's doing to a certain extent. What will normally happen? So the schooling is very, very early here. The kids are on the school bus for 7 a.m. If my wife's skiing that day, I'll get the kids up, get them ready, take them up to the school bus, walk the dog back to the house, pick up my wife, and we'll go skiing for an hour or so in the morning, because obviously, you know, it's 11 o'clock local time, is 9 a.m. UK time. So she officially starts 11 o'clock local time. So she gets several runs in the morning before she starts work. She calls her morning workout. And then depending on the so Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, normally I'll then take the kids in the afternoon. So they have supervised homework from 12:30 to 4. So you can pick them up anytime from 12:30 onwards. So I'll then pick them up at 12:30, and we'll be up at Borovets by 1, and ski till sort of it depends. Our little girl has gymnastics 4 nights a week in Samakov as well. So we'll normally ski until it's time for her to do that. And then she'll go do 2 hours of gymnastics after sort of skiing for 3 hours.
So it sounds exactly the same as I had when my 2 were that sort of age. You end up taxiing all around the world, except for when you're not taxiing, you're on a ski slope.
Yes,
rather than sitting there looking at the rain out the window. And
yes, speaking of which, it is snowing. There is been. I'm just looking out the window. There is the odd flake of snow falling at the minute here for everybody to know.
Brilliant. We will come on to that very quickly. So, you've talked about your life outside of Borovets. If people are going to see you, where they're going to see you in Borovets. Carol, a question to both of you: where would they find you in Borovets? Where's your favourite place?
I can tell you where we always find Carol.
Sorry?
Yeah.
We always find you in Sangria.
Or Sangria, yes. Sangria at the end of the skiing day. White House at lunchtime, or actually it was 10 o'clock this morning, because we kind of gave up just after that when it got a bit crowded. But
Jim, where's that for you?
Okay, it depends on who I'm skiing with, but the most likely locations are any of the folding chairs. So normally I'll, so for instance, the youngest is 5, and he's not doing much on the Yastrovet side at the moment. So if we're on the Rilla side, we'll be up the top of the 4-man. So I'll normally take a backpack with some hot chocolate and some booze and that sort of stuff, and just leave it sitting up there in the folding chairs, and then we'll normally have a break sort of through the day there. Or if we're on the Yastrovet side, it's the chairs at the bottom of the Yastrovets normally will sort of be sort of between runs, if you know what I mean.
So talking about runs and all the places that you like to go, I've got the map up. Where for the both of you, which is your favourite runs at the resort?
Me, Yastrovet's one.
Yastrobets
Probably.
1. Love it. Love it. Which at the bottom, do you prefer to carry all the way straight down to the bottom, or do you go off on one of the ski paths?
Well, if we park the car at the Yastrobets car park, then we go off sideways. But yeah, sometimes use it because you can get across from one side of the resort to the other.
You can.
Either way. So yeah.
So Yastrobets 1, for those that haven't, or it's open. It's not normally open at the beginning of the year because it hasn't got cannons on it. But it was open very early this year. And it's a lovely run.
Yeah,
I really
beautiful
like
run.
it. I like it. It's a beautiful run. It's very wide.
Yeah, you can ski down Yastrobets 1 and ski all the way to the Sangria with just one more lift.
All the way to Sangria. What, you go across the Masala pathway and that way?
Across, yeah. Then up the Iglika lift, is it? And then down across and down the Red Flag.
Oh, I see what you do. You just take the Iglika lift up, just that just up a little bit, and then it pushes you back. Good call. Good call. Jim?
Yeah, sorry, I was in the process of ordering another beer. We were
Yeah, for all of the levs in your pocket.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Certainly, well, it depends on who I'm skiing with. Yastrobets 1 is absolutely magnificent, especially in the morning if we've sort of parked over there. Less so now that they've sort of taken the what the kids used to call the skate park out. They used to call that the skate park, but Stettin Yakovo 3, and then sort of cutting across, or the black that runs down to the sledding slope is especially with the kids. They definitely love that one the best.
Yeah, shame they took they took the dip out of it. The sort of almost a half dip. They leveled it this year.
Bowl.
Yeah.
My understanding was the bowl came out so that they could piece it better, and there was going to be cannons. But the cannons haven't arrived as yet. Well, they weren't when I was there a few weeks ago.
Yeah, no, they won't. The cannons won't go in until the new season starts. So till they've had summer to get them in.
So we were talking before we started this briefly. It looks like a couple of the runs over the left-hand side, the one we've just talked about, that black run, and some of the Sinyakov areas are being partly closed today. Are we low on snow at the moment?
A bit of a shortage of snow in places. I mean, Yastrobets 1 was actually closed, but I wasn't going to walk to the car, so went down it.
And talking about snow, it's what are we going to come up next? Just to explain to anybody, all of these sites that I'm looking at, I get from Pete's webcam page. Pete's webcam page, the URL is there. And all of the links are there, so you can actually follow on and see where we're going to. So, talking about the snow, this is the snow one. This is the one we're always interested in, and what's going to be happening coming up. So it looks like, according to this here, you've got snow due. You said it's already started snowing. It's due.
Yeah, there's been odd. It's not been much, and it's nothing at the minute. But yeah, there's the odd large flake falling at the minute.
So this is per hour. You've got snow coming in over the next 24 hours. There's going to be a significant amount of snow. It looks like around about 30 to 40 centimeters of snow in the next 24 hours.
Look at Aria.
Will that do?
Do nicely.
And then another lot the following Friday. So those that are out there, we can see this as the graph goes across. The little red dot in the middle of the screen is actually Borovets, and you can see that the snow is coming in. So we aren't running out yet. The season is going to go on for quite a while, and it looks like even in the 2 more weeks after that, even more. So we're looking at lots of snow coming in still. So that's going to be great. It's absolutely great. And it's going to be a lovely, lovely time. it's difficult to see that in the pictures directly. But if I go on to this one, we can see live what it's like at the moment out off the top of the Alpine Hotel. I have to talk lots because it's not coming on. There you go. Look at that. So night skiing. Do you both night ski?
Yes. Monday, Tuesday.
Carol?
I haven't done much lately, but no, I love the night skiing. Yeah, it's really good.
So, I mean, being out there the whole year, obviously there's opportunities for different passes for you. So which passes do you have?
I've got the full because I've costed it out, but with 2 lots of weekends with visitors, it saves me the money.
I think it's 1,000 lev off the top of my head for that one.
1,000, yes. Previous year it was 900 if you bought it early, but they didn't do that this year.
Jim?
Yeah, we've got the midweek pass, which obviously being here, it definitely pays for itself. But we also costed it out because if you do skiing during the day and then night skiing, as soon as you're here beyond a week, it becomes cost effective to go for the mid. So even if you're only here for 2 weeks, you're actually better off with the midweek pass and potentially paying for the couple of days in the middle, for example. The midweek pass at 500 lev is actually a huge bargain, and anybody that is here for more than a week should definitely, or if you're coming out twice, you should definitely get the midweek pass.
I would agree. I was talking with Steve a couple of weeks ago. He's just done his 4th trip out there. I really need to find out which pass he got because, as you say, once you've done 2 or 3 weeks, it just takes the pressure off. And you can just do it. I think the midweek one is that 500 lev. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's 500 lev. So if you're looking at it's equivalent to 9 days of skiing. So you do 9 days, and it's paid for itself. Yeah. So if you're here for 2 weeks, you're going to do 10 weekdays in those 2 weeks. It's paid for itself in just 2 weeks.
So we've had a look at the webcams. We've had a look at what it looks like out there at the moment. That's the page. It actually happens to be somebody's birthday, and I wonder. This is the bit where where everything fails. We're going to see if we can see. So that is live what it looks like in the sangria at the moment. And I was going to say happy birthday to Kaz, but I'm not actually sure we can actually see her in there at the moment. But if she is in there, happy birthday to her. It is great that you can actually see some of the places that you're doing. Normally, I think, Carol, somebody's sitting in your seat, Carol.
Someone sitting in my seat.
Yeah, that's normally the seat you're sitting in.
That's normally your seat, right?
Yeah.
Right. I'm pointing at something which obviously you can't see because I've realised you can't see my mouth moving. But yeah, so as you come in the door, turn left, and that's normally where you are, around about.
Whereas go through the door, and you're usually on the right, aren't you, Lynn?
I'm a bit. Well, Jim is, isn't he? So it's great. There's you can see the other. There's a couple of other webcams. There's lots of webcams available at Borovets that you can have a look and see where people are. But also, as we normally use, you can see the webcams of all the snow and as you said yourself, these are the things that we all look at every single day before we get out there and go there. So we've covered the snow that we've got coming up. One of the questions we always get asked about is exchange rates. The exchange rate at the moment in Borovets is 2.237. Now that's coming from the Crown Exchange next to the John Smith pub. It is different to the other ones at the Crown Exchange. What do you both do for money out there, as in getting levs?
Okay,
Basically.
Yeah, go, Carol.
Yep. Basically, when the exchange rate is really good, I use TransferWise to ship it from the UK out to Bulgaria. But I'm going to be sorting out getting my pensions paid out here soon because I believe in Bulgaria they don't tax pensions.
You're making this more and more attractive.
Well, the standard tax rate's 10% anyway. So if you're a high taxpayer, you're considerably better off here than almost anywhere else. To be fair.
So we've talked about mergers and acquisitions. We've talked about tax. This is a great discussion about Borovets and it's a different episode of how and why people live out there. But I think it's important because a lot of people go out there for a holiday and wonder, is this a place that they can settle down? Both of you seem to have made your life out there, and we had last week others that had made their life out there. Is there anything you would say, no, this is not the place for people, or you'd say it's for anybody?
I think if you're very set in your ways and you and you like things a certain way, it's probably less likely to suit you. It definitely suits, people are a little bit happy-go-lucky. You can't really be too sort of stressed about stuff. I think you've got to sort of not worry about stuff to live here. But it's a very relaxed lifestyle. You don't want to have to register a car here. If you want to transfer your registration over, you've got a full day of paperwork going to 10 different windows, dealing with 20 queues, all of that sort of stuff. But then the next day you go to Separova Banya and you relax in the pools and drink 1 litre 50 beers and
which they keep bringing out to you, Jim. I've noticed they're bringing the beers out at a great rate.
Yes,
you got someone to bring.
So
another thing about Bulgaria. Sorry, Jim. I reckon Bulgaria make the best red wine in the world. It is absolutely delicious. This stuff I paid $2.90 for 2 liters.
Right.
Yeah. Even the really cheap red wines in Bulgaria are really nice. And my wife is a foodie and a winey and all of that sort of stuff, and doesn't balk at spending a huge amount on a bottle of wine, an amount that I wouldn't even think about spending. But she comments she's never had a bad wine in a restaurant here. No. You just go for the house red every time, and you always get a really good wine.
So you both talked about lots of places that you eat outside of the resort because you can. And we've talked about where we'd see you in the daytime. Is there anywhere that you like eating in the resort in the evening if you're still there? Where would you suggest?
Obviously Sangria and the tapas night is a brilliant night out, for example. A few of the theme nights in the different places are really, really good. Yeah. The Green King, bearing in mind we normally eat at lunch there because we'll be home or elsewhere by the evening more often than not. But definitely the Green King is, Peter from the first time we went in there 4 years ago, he still, remembers the kids. He'll talk about the kids, and if they're not with us, which they haven't been the last few times we've been in there, he'll ask about them and just the service and the food and everything else. So definitely the Green King in Borovets is a must as far as I'm concerned. And also we tend to be at the Molina on the sledging zone because the kids like using the free sledges. Nice hot wine. You can sit there and drink hot wine to your heart's content while the kids sort of exhaust themselves.
The one with a really slippery floor?
Yes, that's the one. Yes,
very, very, very. It's like somebody chose these tiles. They look really nice, but I don't even think ice is as slippy as those tiles.
No, they blame the snow cannons and to be honest, it is always way slippery because there must be whatever chemical is in the artificial, the made snow tends to make it even worse. But yes, it is dangerous. Yeah, slippery. Yeah,
that's dangerously slippery. But you're right; it's a really nice bar. As you say, it has a big sign out saying free sledges for any of our guests, our customers. So it is worth going to. Carol.
So the parents have to drink wine there, don't they, or hot chocolate or something while the children are sledding? But
the difficulties.
Well, I mean, I love Queen's Bistro.
Yeah.
Down the thing. I'd say a lot of people seem to have discovered that this year. And one day I'm going to get somebody to take me to the Samakova restaurant in the Reela. One day.
Not been there.
I've heard they're good reports. It's probably
nice.
the more expensive. Yeah.
Very nice.
There are so many options. I haven't been there.
Yeah. Incredible.
My wife would not allow a restaurant to exist in Borovets if we didn't visit it. There is, there's even a rumor that there's a restaurant that she's not been to where we're all over it.
Right. There you go. I mean, whereabout? I should have asked. Where is your wife from in the UK?
Well, she's a Geordie originally. Blythe. She grew up. So I cannot. When her father's talking, I cannot understand a word he's saying. A true miner's daughter, she is.
Right. Okay. Got you. And thank you for all that. This has been really fascinating to hear and find out how people who live out there spend their time and the places that you go to. Some of which are new to me, some of which I've known about in the past. And it's been a fascinating discussion. Before we wrap up, there's a few things that I need to cover. First of all is that the merchandise that I'm wearing, you can see here, is the Let's Talk Borovets stuff, is from Mo. Mo has lots of other merchandise available. This is a simple plug. So please choose if you want the t-shirts made or sweatshirts. If you're going out to Borovets and you want a group of hoodies, do look at their Mo will sort it out and knows how to get them out there. We are trying to do this show once every week to try and get different guests. We will be really welcome other people to join us who've got a story, who come out there, people who work out there. We want to get a flavour for what Borovets is about and why people love it so much. And I think that's why we're doing it, because everybody I've spoken to so far is it's like their place that they want to be when they don't, when they can get away from the rest of the world. So that would be my view. If you had one other thing to add to that, Carol or Jim, what would you say?
Oh, crikeys. Well, there's no doubt that the lifestyle here is considerably different to anywhere else. And I think two things. And I noticed looking at the forums, so many people are worried about coming out in March and the snow conditions and all of that sort of stuff. And Carol is going to hate me saying this because she loves the really empty slopes and she doesn't want anybody to visit in March. But it's definitely worth, because people think that the conditions in February are going to sort of tell them what it's going to be like in March, and it is always way better in March. There's always more snow in March. There is. And there's no people about the place, so you can get out. So try Borovets in March and come to the area in summer, because especially with obviously you've got the lake and everything else, but the number of different thermal spas and mineral spas and everything else, it's an amazing place to spend summer.
I think we are planning to carry on this show and towards the end of the season. Mo and I are talking about maybe a trip out towards the end of March, and then I think we're going to do some roundups of other things to do in the summer, because I think you're absolutely right. There's so much more to do, and there are so many other things to visit. And it's becoming a really interesting thing. As you say, lots of other things to do and lots of other reasons to be there. And just a welcoming country.
I mean, Borovets can be as busy in the summer. You get weekends in the summer when Borovets is full. The mountain bikers particularly. They have both the chairlifts and the gondola rigged up to take the bikes. And it's just absolutely packed.
I can imagine. Yeah. As you say, because they've got I think the gondola. I think is it both? I think now both of the new lifts, or just one of the lifts has the bikes goes on it.
It's the Signacova and the Martinova, yeah.
Both of those have the bars now for the lifts, for the bikes. So it's great, great.
And bearing in mind too, in terms of, because if you were to go to a resort in summer, some days you get good weather, some days you'll get bad weather. At least here, if you get a day that's not as warm, you've got the thermal spas. The water's always gonna. There's always going to be warm. You don't ever have a bad day. Yeah. When you can choose between so many different places.
On that point,
and it's only a 4-hour drive to the Greek coast.
Yeah, exactly. We're not what happens in Greece stays in Greece, Carol. That's the local rule.
Yes.
I had this on our list, so I put forward a list of questions to ask in advance. And I was literally told not to ask about Greece. So I haven't. You mentioned it. So I'm not going to mention it. And on that point, I think we should call it. We should wrap up here. So I'd like to thank everybody for watching. I hope we've covered some points. I hope we've given you something of interest. If you've got questions about Borovets, please ask. And we will try and endeavour to get round to questions in other times. So on that, I'd like to just wave goodbye to everybody, and I'm going to say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Yeah, Snowy.